Welcome to GeneralWo's Let's Play Napoleon Total War, Series 2, the Egyptian Campaign, Episode 2. In the last episode I took the city of Cairo, and I'm not entirely sure how to proceed now. I can have the enemy come at me from pretty much any direction. I have Nelson with his fleet here somewhere in the Mediterranean. I have the Mamelukes to the south and even some Bedouin here. And to the east is the Ottomans. So, for the short term, what I think I'll do is I'll take these four cities because they're conveniently close together. Hopefully this will increase my income, allowing me to invest into a new big army or perhaps a fleet to get rid of Nelson and take Cyprus. But before I do that, I'm going to explain the exact purpose of the spy. I had some questions by viewers in the last episode what a spy is for. Well, as the name suggests, he's good at spying. I have sent the spy deep into enemy territory to give me an idea about the army sizes in the cities I want to take. It looks like the armies aren't too big. Mansoura doesn't even have an army. Zagazig has a very small one.
Comment puis-je vous aider?
The reason why the spies are good at this is because armies can't kill him. The only way to kill the spy is to use another spy or a gentleman and challenge him to a duel. And then hopefully you'll win the duel. Other things a spy can do is assassinate a general, like you've seen me do in the last episode when I killed Murad Bey. And I could sabotage an army, which prevents them from moving, and I could sabotage buildings in cities. All of these have a chance of success, and I could fail, which means that I either arouse suspicion, or I lose the spy. And I cannot build spies. Spies are generated at random from specific buildings, of which I have absolutely none. I have this college, which I can turn into a members club. Oh crap. There we go. I thought I destroyed my college. And the members club gives you happiness, but it spawns the spies and increases the maximum number of them. But now it's a college, which serves a different purpose. Colleges allow you to research things. A small research tree here in this campaign, and I'm researching national debt, which reduces my upkeep cost and gives me slightly more income. My gentleman is here at the town, because that's what they do generally. They help speed up research, and this gentleman has a special trait which speeds up the research for civic technologies, which is what I'm researching now. And then also there's a topic on something awful that goes with these videos, and there was an interesting discussion going on about the misconception about Napoleon's length. Napoleon is generally considered short. The thing is, he wasn't that short at all. Napoleon was 5 foot and 6.5 inches tall, or 169 centimeters. And now 200 years ago, that was slightly above average length, so he was definitely not short. So why does this image persist? Well, first of all, there's Napoleon's nickname, Le Petit Corporal, the Little Corporal. That's what his men referred to. That's how his men referred to him. This was because he often sighted the guns himself, especially during the Italian campaign. And sighting the guns, although Napoleon was trained in that, it's normally a task reserved for a corporal, not a general. Hence the nickname. And also the nickname was affectionate. The soldiers liked Napoleon, and Napoleon was friendly with them. It's also why he's always depicted wearing that trench coat, which is something the soldiers would be wearing, not something the general would be wearing. Another reason for his perceived shortness was the fact that he surrounded himself with some very large men. The old guard was composed of the biggest and baddest, and they were usually taller than Napoleon. So Napoleon, even though he was slightly above average, he'd appear short when surrounded with even taller men. Now, another reason was that the French foot was slightly longer than the English foot. So he would be 5 foot 2 inches in French measurements, so he would lose 4.5 inches in the conversion, which would be around 11.5 centimeters. So the British would, simply by reading his length, think he was 10 centimeters shorter. Then there was the fact that in English propaganda that he was constantly depicted as short, reinforcing this view, and this misconception is so widespread it persists today and keeps being spread still in popular media, where Napoleon is depicted as short again, and there's even a term Napoleon complex, although an unofficial term. It refers to a type of inferiority complex, and perhaps the lust for power that comes as a result thereof, caused by short stature. Anyway, enough with the anecdotes.
Votre humble serviteur.
Let's wage war. I have Napoleon and his army moving north to take Mahala al-Kubra. It's the closest city.
Monsieur?
And here I have some reinforcing armies. Alexandria is constantly churning out new units.
Oui?
And
Préparez-vous! Marchez! Oui,
I'm
monsieur.
moving them to help out taking the city.
Autre chose?
This one's already finished moving.
Immédiatement! Oui, monsieur.
So, without further ado, let's take the city.
Commencez le siège!
It's pretty much impossible to lose this fight, it seems. Clearly in my favour. But unlike last episode, I am going to play this battle out. Feel free to skip it because it wouldn't be too interesting. But the reason I'm doing this is because when you auto-resolve, generally all of your units get damaged. The damage is very small, but when you play the battle yourself, you have complete control over which units you're letting get damaged. For example, I could prevent my cannons from taking any damage at all. So feel free to skip this, but let's take the city here. For this battle I'm going to camp out on a hill. My cannons are slightly higher than the rest of my army, so they shouldn't hit my own men in the back. And then I have a skirmish line in front and my infantry behind that. Some cavalry on the right flank because that flank seems somewhat weak. My general safely behind the hill, and I think reinforcements will be coming from the left because that's the direction they were coming from on the campaign map. And they're already arriving. Now it takes a while before the enemy gets into range of my cannons, so let's skip forward until something interesting happens. At this point my units are within range, and it looks like I'm the one getting surrounded, but these are really weak units surrounding me. They shouldn't pose a problem. On my right flank I am messing around with my cavalry, and oh yeah, I'm also doing this in slow motion because these battles get really hectic when units start running after 2 volleys only. So to keep things manageable, I have used the game's slow motion function. Here I'm trying to get my dragoons to get in behind that unit. It's only firelock armed citizenry, so I'm not too worried. They're not really hitting me. And the chasseur on the right, I'm trying to get them to flank these guys. Start shooting them. I'm not being really successful with this, as the enemy is also busy turning around. Now here on my left flank things are starting to get interesting. Skirmishers are pumping them full of lead. I changed my line slightly to deal with that incoming unit which appears to be flanking me. Back to my cavalry. As you can see, they've rotated, so they're still facing me. I'm not sure what these chaps are doing in the woods. I think they're glitching out. I just tell them to charge and get it over with. Same here, charge and get it over with. It's a frontal charge, it's not a good idea, but it's versus a very inferior unit that's already shot its bullets, so I think I'll be fine. Oh yeah, and you may have noticed I was using a formation for their cavalry. It increases their maneuverability. Now, I kind of forgot about these cavalrymen. Now being attacked by the unit of infantry. And now here it appears my chasseur being charged. I don't want that, because they're bad at melee. So I quickly tell my more regular line infantry to charge in. I tell my chasseur to retreat. I have some moderate success. You'll see later they still managed to get some of my chasseur. On the right flank, and my advisor confirms it, right flank things are going very well. Those pesky infantry units have already been wiped out, so my cavalry is available again. Back to my left flank. My chasseur are still trying to get out from the fight. Doesn't look like they've succeeded. Considering about having my general help out, but no. This unit is now free. Having defeated the chasseurs have defeated the infantry, so now they can go and charge them right in the back. Lines have become somewhat messy here, as I try to deal with a few remaining units. I've stopped my cannons from firing, by the way. I did get some friendly fire, not a lot, thankfully, but at this range it's not sensible to keep firing, because I'm going to keep ending up hitting myself. Also, of course, with the formation I've used, it's impossible to use anything like canister shot. Another unit doing nothing on my left flank. I send them to join in. And now my chasseur can start shooting those pesky Mamelukes in the back. There they go. In the distance, my chasseurs are still moving towards them. They weren't running for some reason, so. And wiped out. To slow it down again, because here comes another unit charging at me. So I create a little funnel for them. They obviously won't last long once I open fire. Kind of forgot about the right flank. I have my cavalry wreaking havoc. They've already shattered all the units that remained. Just a few men running around. Obviously they shouldn't be shooting the ones that are running, because they've already lost their flag. It's kind of a waste of bullets. The remaining few units are getting mopped up now. The battle on the left flank is over. It didn't last very long like I expected. And now I mostly have to deal with that cannon and a few units surrounding it. The speed of the game, because it's not hectic anymore. I reform my lines to deal with that unit. I reopen fire. Unfortunately, they're out of range, so I can't hit them yet. And it doesn't look like that cannon is going to move either. The chasseurs are just sitting there doing nothing, so there's nothing going on my right flank, so I give them cleanup duty. That lone unit is now being taken care of. The flag is gone. So all that remains now is that pesky artillery and the few units defending it. And it's going to take a while until I've reformed my line and started the march towards them. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Here's an interesting bit. I'm trying to do some manual targeting. I'm just going to tell my cannons to attack the ground that's just within their range, and hopefully a few of the bullets will continue their course and destroy that unit of Mameluke cavalry. Which they do, and they kill the general. Wonderful. Okay, let's skip forward a bit more. Now, whilst I was busy preparing to march towards the cannons, the general's unit, without a general now, has regained its spirits and is charging to my chasseur. I tried to form these guys to square, but there's not enough of them. Maybe these guys can help out, but no, it looks like they really are going for my chasseur. So, melee fun time. Here we go. Show them the bayonet. Chasseurs have been slaughtered, oh well. And there they go. And after this, the battle is simple. I just march forward and destroy the cannons. And here we are, approaching the cannons. I can squeeze my cavalry right between my own army and those spikes that have been set up.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
Cavalry don't pose much of a challenge. Shot full with lead, and then the chasseur come in to finish it off. And one volley causes the cannons to flee. And with that, I win the battle. Eventually, after the cleanup, I'm awarded a close victory. With the battle over, looking at the statistics, I have lost 306 men, whilst the enemy lost all of his 1,158. Thank you for watching and see you next episode.